Last week, I alluded to finding out what Arceus really was, and that is what we will be exploring today. Most people consider Arceus the god of all Pokemon, and debating if Mew or Arceus was first is still a big question. But today's video will explain one of Arceus's biggest mysteries. So sign in and get ready to comment down below, because we will be exploring what Arceus's role in the Pokemon life cycle really is. Today's theory is going to be discussing religion once more, specifically the Buddhism sector of religious belief. And a lot of terms and names are extremely hard for me to pronounce as well. So if that isn't your cup of tea, feel free to leave. What could I have found? What discovery could I have made that would change everything about Pokemon, or at least the way we view the life cycle? Put simply, Arceus is based upon a deity godlike entity that came to break free the suffering of reincarnation and end that cycle. That might be a surprise to a lot of people, but let me explain. For this theory to work, let's assume there was another Pokemon that came first to create things, or potentially came after Arceus, and Arceus did not want what occurred to remain the same. For example, Mew created all Pokemon, or all Pokemon stemmed from Mew. What happened was a life cycle of reincarnation. Pokemon die, reincarnate into specific ghost types, then evolve again back into a different Pokemon, and eventually evolving into humans. But how did that occur? How did Pokemon just randomly evolve into human beings? And how is Arceus a Buddhist god? The biggest piece of evidence is its Diamond Pokedex entry, which states it is described in mythology as the Pokemon that shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms. Compare that to the 1,000-armed god. Long story short, the 1,000-armed godlike entity wanted to free its creatures from their suffering of samsara, also known as the cycle of reincarnation and the cycle of life. This godlike entity used its 1,000 arms to help those people in need, as its 2 were not enough to do so. While it's unclear if this is something Arceus was able to do, I do feel that he bestowed extended life to the suffering creatures and aided them in their evolution to stop the suffering. It is stated that another godlike entity bestowed power to help free the creatures by giving not only 1,000 arms, but multiple heads to hear their cries as well. Just listen to this reference. One prominent Buddhist story tells of a godlike entity vowing to never rest until he had freed all the sentient beings from samsara. Despite strenuous effort, he realizes that still many unhappy beings were yet to be saved. After struggling to comprehend the needs of so many, his head split into 11 pieces. Another godlike entity, seeing his plight, gives him 11 heads, to which to hear the cries of the suffering. Upon hearing these cries and comprehending them, the godlike entity tries to reach all of those who needed aid, but found that his 2 arms shattered into pieces. Once more, the other godlike entity comes to his aid and invests him with 1,000 arms, with which to aid the suffering multitudes. This could be interpreted in multiple ways, as with all religions, but the multiples of heads could represent Arceus's plates, and the 1,000 arms are already pretty much confirmed in the Pokedex entries. No other Pokemon godlike creature is referenced like this. Not Ho-Oh, not Mew, no other one. And it's odd that the Pokemon god is very similar to a Buddhist godlike entity as well. But ultimately, if this was the case, then Arceus did fail, as Pokemon do die, reincarnate, and evolve into humans, with references from Yamask and even stranger references like Kadabra. Perhaps Arceus's failure ushered in the age of humanity and allowed Pokemon to evolve and live longer as humans. If Arceus did fail, it would explain why it never returns. Arceus isn't even really encountered within the games outside some events or a game code exploit. Did Arceus work with another higher level godlike Pokemon and attempt to change the Pokemon life cycle system? Or is this too thin of evidence to confirm any? Let me know in the comments below, and I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming, and God bless.